so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. When the dust settled, no new divine had risen. Instead, all Source was released into the world for all the people and every creature to share. Everyone was now a sorcerer. And united, the peoples of Rivellon pushed back the God King into the very depths of the void. This ushered in a new golden age of peace and prosperity. But alas, it was not to last. With many greedy for wealth, power and position, the struggle soon began anew. Source, the very language of creation, was used in violence once more. The never-ending contest for power continued. As for me, I was freed of the tyranny of the God King. To atone for my sins in this world, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly. I would tell the story of the Godwoken to anyone who would listen. The story of the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known. The heroes who chose not to close the veil.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Get an eyeful. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time. I have a lot of planning to do, now that there's not to be a new divinity.
She drums her fingers testily on her crossed arms.
All that work, all that effort tossed into the gutter like a malformed child. Say that now. Let's see how you feel when you realize the true implication of a world filled with sorcerers. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it. But instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Sacrificed much. And I'd have given even more to see you fulfill your destiny.
She looks you up and down.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. The same way I do everything, of course. Demonic guile. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a lover or 300. I'd say we've earned it. Perhaps our paths will cross again. Perhaps not. Until we find out. Don't you have somewhere else to be?
Well, look what the cat dragged in. A Godwoken. But what good is it to be Godwoken when Source is now a free-for-all, and there is no divinity to be had? Don't fool yourself. In the absence of a master will rise. King, God, there is still power to be had. As long as there is power, there is conflict. Source for all, it is but the dream of an idiot who will soon wake to find his wrists in shackles. In that sense, I suppose I should look upon it all as an opportunity. People crave authority. They'll beg for a sorcerer king like me. Please, I'm not a dilettante.
He sighs, which seems to ease his surly countenance.
but come. We've travelled too long by one another's side to end with an argument. We'll not part on bad terms, will we? Home. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire. There may be an accident or two along the way. Can't be helped, I'm afraid. I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The scents of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadha. Long to finally have the time to love. Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? Not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you recall, as per your own testimony, you can cook, tailor, and groom. 3 quite indispensable talents. At the time, of course, I couldn't have foreseen the adventure ahead, but now that it's quite over, I'd like to renew the opportunity for you to become my slave. What say you? Well, that's settled then. You're very welcome to my house indeed. We'll feast and reminisce. But in the meantime, my boots are not going to clean themselves. You'll have to wear a collar again, by the by. Nothing you're not used to.
There's nothing interesting down there. The future lies above.
I've got to admit, I'm all about returning the power to the people. But I never could have seen this one coming.
Beast pulls your hand to his hairy cheek, and you caress it until he giggles and cringes from the tickle.
You've meant so much. Too much. I may not be divine, but I still resolve to serve the kingdom, serve my people. I can't belong to you while I belong to them. There still might be a day for promises between us. It's just not today.
He eyes you slyly, but consents to one final tale.
The beast of the sea rose triumphant, guiding his fellow Godwoken from an island prison to a final hurrah. He boarded the Lady Vengeance, now inexplicably whole due to magic a beast could never understand, and returned to his homeland. Then began the process of rebuilding, restoring trust, handing out hope, serving his people. Guess that one doesn't really end with a bang. But that's all right. You know, it's a work in progress. Hey, up there!
A world full of sorcerers. That's quite a thing. But don't worry, darling. You're still special to me. Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet from the Halley and I. A roaring fire and a feather bed. Maybe. Maybe. But a girl needs some fun, doesn't she? Reform my ways. How adorable. No, I'm afraid I cannot escape who I am and what I've done.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then slinks forward to kiss you. Almira pouts in disappointment, but it quickly morphs into a devilish grin.
Oh, no matter. We'll always have our first kiss. I haven't been quite able to put it out of my mind. Just as I'm sure you won't be able to put me out of your mind. I hope you won't be a stranger, my dear. I do like to keep in touch with old friends.
I feel weird, like I've got ants crawling in my belly. There is a matter I must attend to, however. My payment for all the stuff I've done for you. That'll be...
He taps his fingers and mouths silently while he counts, until he arrives at an acceptable figure.
1,300,000 dozen and 50 teen gold pieces. Now pay up. It is so, but if you can't pay me in money, then I'll just have to insist you keep me on until you can. So, what position can you offer?
Han ponders your suggestion for all of a second.
Okay, I love being all sneaky and well, yeah. But you'd better believe the bill for that will be a doozy.
Losa smiles broadly and casts her gaze over the ship's top deck. She sighs, relieved, and nods. Losa sings to herself, a small smile about her lips. A slight grin crosses the spirit's face. Whether her smile is sincere or not, you can't be sure. Sabile's spirit dips her head in your direction and gazes out onto the sparkling sea.
Well, well, Quackers, look who finally graced us with their presence. I suppose some thanks are in order. What? No, you should be thanking me. I just saved the world from the Great Acorn. You're welcome, by the way. Honestly, Quackers, some creatures have no sense of perspective.
A huge grin slowly spreads across the squirrel's small face.
Of course, had you not stopped this God King and his lackeys, there would have been very little left for me to say. So?
The cat moves forward, twisting around your legs and filling the air with a sound of dry, dusty purring.
Ah, Quackers! Please, have a little decorum.
Quercus arches his back, almost dislodging Silora, who just smiles.
This battle is won, my friend, but we still have a war to fight. We've undone the Great Acorn, but the Knights of Dre are still out there. They summoned the Great Acorn once. They will be able to summon it again. We have to destroy their order, once and for all. That is the future Quercus and I have ahead of us. We no longer need a shield, but we are very happy to have a friend.
The squirrel tenses for half a moment before relaxing into your fingers.
Oh, hi, Quercus. You never told me it felt this good. Well, that was certainly an experience. Of course, this has all been something of an experience, eh?
The squirrel lays his hand on your leg, patting you gently.
You've seen things that no one should ever see, my friend. But had you done nothing, the whole world would have seen that horror. You fought your way through the hells to spare Rivellon the same fate. Be proud of that. I do not know what comes next for you, but you will always have a friend in the forest. Come, Quercus. We must... Oh, I think you have something in your eye, my friend.
The cat curls up and snuggles into his squirrel friend, who quietly sits and sniffs on the deck. The squirrel smiles, nods, and pats you on the leg. Ifan beams at you, his blood-streaked face more jubilant than you've ever seen it. He reaches out and pulls you into a bear hug, clapping you on the back.
We did it. The odds were against us. Hell, the gods were against us. And still we did it.
He reaches out his hand to grasp yours. Sauce crackles between you and in the air all around you. The world has changed.
Now we'll see something. We'll see what happens when everyone can harness their own divinity. Me either. I knew it. From the first time I met you, I knew you were special. And this proves it. With a world full of sorcerers, we should be able to make short work of the Voidwoken.
Ifan nods, but his mind is elsewhere already. He looks different somehow. A vestige of command has returned to this ex-soldier.
We'll need supplies. Source-forged steel, war owls, a central command from which to run sorties. What do you think? Is Arx the right location?
Seeing the look on your face, he laughs and shakes his head.
Old habits die hard. But I'm willing to bet these Voidwoken will die harder.
With that, Ifan salutes you. He whistles up his soul wolf and strides off to make arrangements, looking from head to toe every bit a leader of men.
Ready for what's next? I know I am.
I suppose it's time for me to explore a new form of eternity.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I will always be an ally to those that carry Source. To those whose blood is of the heroes of old, and so, as always, I am at the ready.
She is full of surprises. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. It was a great feat, but given her skill, not a surprising one. I feel better than new.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. You are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. The world was at peace, at least for now. Few were as prepared for the new world as the lizardkin of the ancient empire. With power spread equally throughout the world, the advantage lay with those who knew how to steal it, and at this the lizards excelled. Justinia returns to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork. With their power returned, the elves reclaimed their lands from the Death Fog and began to rebuild. Soon they would split as two factions sought power, one to bring back the trees, the other to bring back the Scions. A dwarven joke did the rounds. It ends with the punchline, "So Lucian dropped the Death Fog on them again." And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoute of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. Lohar became mayor, and Brayton Barnes grew rich until, after a public argument over import duties, Barnes died in an accident, buried under several tons of fish, and also stabbed in the back with a gutting knife. Your lizard lover from the Black Bull Tavern finally returned to the ancient Lizard Empire, there to found the newest and most popular of all the houses, the House of Love. After a long and harrowing journey, Lovric the Waiter arrived in Sicil, where he opened a tavern. The meaty stew became famed almost as much for its food as it was for its greasy, abusive owner. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Millennia later, adventurers would come in search of the legendary divine city of Arx and the crypt of the great Lucian. None would pass the path of blood. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaili settled in an abandoned homestead. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. Outsiders were often suspicious, but no local would speak against her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. With the source released to the world, Ahu the wizard spent more and more time as a cat. One day he decided he would not change back. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. After it burned down, with Jehan inside, witnesses claimed that the flames were the color of blood. As the forests grew anew and the elves were equals at last, Sahala shared elven knowledge of Source with the world. But some elves disagreed and plotted against her. Chief amongst her opponents was Tova, Sahala's own mother. The Beast of the Sea returns to the Dwarven Kingdom, this time as a lawmaker. After a very public blunder, Marcus eschewed political power and returned to the sea. The Beast and the Lady Vengeance sail on. With a small band of elves, Ifan Ben Mezd replanted the lost elven forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, he disappeared and was never seen again. Some say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the forests still. The Red Prince came home a hero. With Sada, he had more dragons. Soon, Prince became Emperor, one who would not use his dragons for conquest. His realm knew peace, and the world did not burn. And then there was you. You returned to the world a sorcerer among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.